The Hawks have confirmed that they're investigating allegations involving Northwest Premier Supra Mahumapelo. This after he allegedly gave former President Jacob Zuma a gift of cattle worth 1.5 million rand. According to the allegations, the livestock that was intended for emerging farmers in the Northwest was instead delivered to Zuma's residence in Nkandla in October 2016. Last week saw some Northwest residents holding violent protests calling for Mahumapelo to resign as the Premier and also accusing him of alleged corruption. To discuss these issues and other developments in the Northwest, we now joined on the line by political analyst Mathekga. Ralph, good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming through here on Morning Live. It hasn't really been a good week for Premier Supra Mahumapelo. Let's just look back at his role in the governance and the political sphere of that province.
Thanks, Palisa, and morning to our viewers. Indeed, it has not been a good week for Mahumapelo. It has not been a good year for him since January, actually, because he has been under pressure because of revelations and more evidence piling up of allegations of involvement in corruption. And that has resulted in a situation where those who have always opposed him in Northwest now have more evidence to actually push for him to leave that position. It has just been quite difficult for him. It is very impossible for the ANC to maintain a deaf ear on this evidence of corruption that seems to be coming up week in, week out against Mahumapelo. It is not a good situation for the ANC going into elections in a situation such as that in Northwest.
All right. Just before we talk about the ANC and President Cyril Ramaphosa's visit on Friday to that province, let's just talk about these latest reports. Of course, the Hawks confirming that they are assessing allegations that Mahumapelo has given former President Jacob Zuma a gift of cattle worth 1.5 million rand. And of course, the reports indicate that 4 cows and a bull that were intended to be given to emerging farmers in the Northwest, but instead they were delivered to former President Jacob Zuma's residence in Nkandla in 2016. What does this report reveal about Premier Supra Mahumapelo's power and, of course, his premiership entirely in that province?
This shows that for the past years, for the 2 terms where Mr. Mahumapelo was the premier in Northwest, he has cultivated patronage. He has been, as SABC showing, he has been an active member in dispensing patronage in that province. That is how he has been able to hold on to power in the province despite concerns, because he could count on the national leadership of the ANC under Mr. Zuma to maintain that position there in Northwest. So what we are seeing now is that he no longer enjoys that support from the national leadership, and more evidence is coming out against him. Pressure mounting, he's being exposed to a point where the only way for him out of this is what we are seeing him doing, crying political persecution because of the position he has taken in supporting Jacob Zuma at the conference. So this will build up. It's not only Mahumapelo, of course. It seems to be most people who were aligned with President Jacob Zuma have been protected by them. That protection is no longer there, and I think that is why there seems to be alleging that now they are being passed. There are genuine concerns, if you look at the evidence, that you need to investigate corruption against Mahumapelo. The cattle situation is in addition to another report that has come out about the son having received the bursary and so forth. It just keeps piling up.
Just on that point of factions and the political developments, we had the Premier here, I think it was on Friday last week. Premier Mahumapelo was here with us on Morning Live, and he was basically saying the protests that are taking place in his province are not service delivery related, but they are rather politically motivated. Some ANC members working with some EFF members, of course, to unseat those coming from Nasrec who were supporting Dr. Nkandla Zuma. This comes at a time, Ralph, when the leadership is promoting unity within the organization itself. So how much do factions still play a big role within the ANC now?
Well, I have followed Northwest very extensively. There are genuine concerns that have got to do with corruption in Northwest. We have seen reports even in the past. This is not anything new. But the challenge is that the faction that Mahumapelo belongs to, his alliance with President Jacob Zuma, most of the people within that faction, prominent people within that faction, have actually decided to rally against any attempt by law authorities to investigate corruption against them. The faction is so deep that it even gets more traction because these people are now facing possible investigation. They know that they will no longer be able to receive that protection. So the best for them is actually to bring this within the party, politicize this investigation by saying that there is nothing untoward about their conduct, their previous conduct. All this has to do with politics. It is not true, of course. Other opposition parties are involved in Northwest, but that does not mean that there are no genuine issues. Opposition parties are there because they're seeing that they can actually extract political mileage out of what is happening in Northwest as the ANC is facing a crisis there. And that does not mean that the genuine issue of corruption, the genuine issue of gross maladministration need not be investigated. It has to be investigated, whether or not it has political implication, whether or not there are those who are gaining out of this kind of investigation. For me, it's secondary. The investigation should have been underway a long time ago anyway, because there have always been allegations of corruption against Mahumapelo.
All right, and the Premier was here on Morning Live basically saying that what we're not reporting on as the media is the fact that the Hawks had raided the offices of the DG in his office, but not his office per se. But now, moving along, let's just take a look at the meeting that took place between the ANC leadership in the Northwest nationally, as well as the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa. Many people are furious, saying that they actually thought that the president was flying all the way back to South Africa to come and release the premier of his duties. And you had said to us on Friday morning that he will not do it.
Palestine, because if you read the top 6 leadership of the ANC, there are some within the top 6 who actually support Mahumapelo. So Mr. Ramaphosa will find it very difficult to rein in Mahumapelo and summarily remove him. It cannot be seen as a personal decision by Ramaphosa, because it then fulfills that prophecy, that defense that has been mounted by Mahumapelo and his allies, that Mr. Ramaphosa is just trying to get rid of them. So you really need an agreement within the top 6 leadership of the ANC to take a common front and confront this situation in Northwest. At this point, you have some speaking on the side saying that Mahumapelo should not go, and you have some saying that he's becoming a liability. So as long as the party is not coherent, it's not the leadership is not united on this, Mahumapelo will continue seeing another day as the premier of Northwest.
All right, Ralph, we have to leave it at that due to time constraints, but thank you so much for coming through. Ralph Mathekga, a political analyst, of course, analyzing the developments in the Northwest province. All right, we're taking a quick